Welcome back to Common Core 1.2 Part E. Now if you remember last time we kind of cut off kind of abruptly because I said we're going to have a little more difficult material. So if you need to go back and look, please feel free. If you have questions, ask. But here's something fun for you to see. Alright, so let's start. So as we know, 3 times 3 is 9. Now, the new thing to show you is the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 equals 9. Now, this looks kind of weird, I admit. Here's what you need to know. Inside the square root, you can simply multiply what's there, saying, okay, well, 3 times 3 is 9, so the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 also equals the square root of 9. And the square root of 9 equals 3. So, the square root of 3 times another square root of 3 makes a whole 3. So when you multiply a root by itself, it becomes a whole. Square root of 5 times square root of 5 equals 5. Think of two pieces of a locket coming together. Imagine a square root and another square root. Once they merge, they become a whole number. So the square root of 5 and another square root of 5 turn to make those two roots into a whole. But it has to be the same number for that to work. You try. Go ahead and combine these here. I hope it's not too difficult. These two roots of the same should make a whole. So should this, and so should this. Oh, and so should this. Skills practice. Go ahead and give these 4 a try. Probably not hard. And there you have them. Now, something new. Just as 3 times 27 equals 81, the square root of 3 times square root of 27 also equals the square root of 81. Now you might say, so what? But the square root of 81 equals 9. There's a couple ways we can do this. First, I want you to multiply 2 and 8 and get 16. So ask yourself, what's the root of 16? I hope you get 4. 5 times 125 is going to make 625. You can just use your calculator. You know the root button to figure that out and get 25. The root of these two makes 64 equals 8. And this guy, well, 7. Let's do the 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. And the root of 729, well, let me reach in that calculator and figure that one out. Root of 729. Let's try that again. 729 rooted is 27. So there you have it. Skills practice 1.2. Try these 4. Let's see how you did. 81, 15, 4, and 81. Now what if... What's up, buddy? Now what if they don't become a perfect square? Well, square root of 2 times square root of 4 equals square root of 8. Now, if you have square root of 8 and 8 can't be broken down, now it gets a little choppy. See, square root of 8 is 2.8284, blah, 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 blah. But what you could do is I can break this 8 down. Square root of 2 times square root of 4 can make 3 square root of 2's. You can split the 4 into 2 pieces. Now from there, remember that 2 pieces make a whole. So I can take these 2 out and make a whole 2. So these 2 pieces make a whole, make a 2, and then 2 times the square root of 2 just get put together. So 2 times square root of 2 becomes 2 square root of 2. Because when they touch, they times. Also, did you notice I had square root of 2 and square root of 4? You could have just said, well, square root of 4 makes a 2. And 2 times square root of 2 can just be 2 square root of 2. This is a little harder. Let's do another. Square root of 12 times square root of 15. It's hard to take 12 times 15. I mean, some people might know it's 180, but not everybody. So what you could do is break 12 down to square root of 4, square root of 3. And square root of 15 into square root of 3 and square root of 5. So, notice how these two are the same. Think of a locket. You're putting the locket together. Square root of 4 happens to be a perfect square by itself, so that turns into a 2. These two pieces of the locket combine to make a whole 3, this sits by itself. Now these two numbers, as they're touching, they're times. So 2 times 3 is 6. And square root of 5 just sits next to it. You try. Now you're going to have to bust these up. Go ahead and pause. Let's see how you do. I'm busting up 18 into 9 and 2. That's how I'm going to do it. 10 becomes 2 and 5. Way I see it, square root of 9 by itself is 3. Big 3. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 turns into a whole 2. Square root of 5. So if you got 6, not 5 because you're multiplying, 6 times square root of 5, nicely done. 14 is 7 and 2. 21 is 7 and 3. Square root of 7 becomes a whole 7. Since I cannot combine 2 and 3 to make a whole, I'm just going to take 2 times 3, square root of 6. Now, if you had like times square root of 2 times square root of 3, you're not wrong, but this is much more cleaned up. We're going to practice this tomorrow, so please just hang in there. This, well, 7 and 5. This, 5 and 3. 2 square roots of 5 make a whole 5. And 7 times 3 is 21. And there you have that. So try these here. Skills practice. Try these 3. Let's see how you do. By the time I get all said and done, I get 4 square root of 6. 6 square root of 14. 5 square root of 165 it looks like. That seems kind of large, but if you look, 3, 5, and 11, they don't meet up. That's all you can do. And when you have this, 3 times square root of 6 times 2 square root of 3, step 1, combine the coefficients. In other words, 3 and 2. So you can take 3 times 2 and make 6. Combine the square roots. Well, 6 times 2, you could either make square root of 12 and work off that, or just make 6 into square root of 3 and square root of 2. This square root of 2, and you're all timesing, 2 pieces of the locket come together to make a whole 2, and this is what's left. 6 times 2 is 12, square root of 3. We can go down and check as I put it painstakingly slow together. 3 here times 2 makes 6, shown here. Square root of 6, I just combine square root, not combine, excuse me, split square root of 6 into 3 and 2. Square root, here's my square root of 2. These two match up and combine to a whole 2. 6 times 2 is 12. Square root of 3 is odd man out. You try. Go ahead. Let's see how you do. Well, 4 times 2 is 8. 27. Choices, choices. Square root of 9. Square root of 3. Yeah, I put square root of 9 because I'm going to turn it into a 3 right now. Square root of 9 makes 3. This stays for now. Square root of 15 is square root of 3, square root of 5. These two match up, break out to form another 3. Square root of 5 is on the side. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 8 is 72. So I get 72 square root of 5. Here, 7 times 5 is 35. 18 breaks down to a 9 and a 2. I'm going to take the root of 9, make a 3, get rid of that. This is already down. Root of 12 is 4 and 3. Root of 4 is 2. So 35 times 2 is 70, times 3 is 210. I know my handwriting looks terrible there, because I'm writing with a mouse. And square root of 2 times square root of 3 is square root of 6. Here, 3 times 11, 11 times 3 is 33. 18 breaks down into a 9 and a 2. And again, this is high-level Algebra 1. Let me pause for a minute. I have to get the door. And back. So where was I? Oh yeah, square root of 9 becomes 3. So I have 33 times another 3. And square root of 2. Well, square root of 2, square root of 2. 2 halves make a whole. Times 2. 33 times 3 is 99. Times 2 is 198. And is this the only way you could do it? No. Take this last one for an example. Yeah, it's 198. We understand that, hopefully. We could do it this way. You could do 11 times 3 is 33. And 18 times 2 could make 36. And you might know the root of 30, because you remember you multiply the inside of a square root. And the root of 36 is 6. And turns out 33 times 6, 18 and 18 also make 198. So Either way you want to play is fine. Skills practice. Go ahead. 5 square root of 15 times 12 square root of 5 by the time it's all said and done. 300 square root of 3. Second one's 312 square root of 2. Third one's 198 square root of 2. Clear as mud? Probably. But we're going to do practice on this for at least one day. Again, this is Common Core tested. This is the harder stuff. And this is just chapter 1. But this is why, we're doing flip class. So you can look back at this, look at it a couple times, ask me questions. So when you go into class prepared tomorrow, you'll know what to ask and say. Again, thanks for listening. We'll do more tomorrow. Bye.